The saloon door swung shut behind Jake Marlowe with a creak that silenced the piano. He was 23, fast with a gun, and hungry for a reputation that would make men step aside when he walked down the street. His spurs jangled as he crossed the room, scanning the worn faces of miners and ranch hands until his eyes settled on the old man sitting alone in the corner. The stranger wore a dusty duster coat and a hat that had seen better decades. His hands, gnarled and scarred, rested easy on the table beside a half-empty whiskey glass. Most men looked away when Jake stared them down. This one just took another sip and set the glass down with a soft click. Jake's boots hit the floorboards hard as he approached. He'd heard about the old-timer from the bartender, some washed-up cowboy nursing drinks and memories. No family, no friends, just taking up space in a world that had moved on without him. Easy prey for a young gun looking to make a name. "That's my table, old man," Jake said, his hand hovering near his holster. Around them, the saloon had gone deathly quiet. Even the bartender had stopped wiping glasses. The old cowboy looked up slowly, and Jake saw eyes the color of winter steel. No fear in them, no anger either. Just a weariness that ran deeper than any grave. "Plenty of tables here, son. Why don't you take one of them?" "Because I want that one." Jake's voice rose, performing for the audience now. This was how legends started putting some old fool in his place, showing the town what real courage looked like. "You deaf?" "I said move." The old man sighed, a sound that carried the weight of 1,000 disappointments. He stood slowly, his joints protesting, and Jake felt a surge of triumph. But the stranger didn't step away from the table. Instead, he moved closer, and Jake caught a scent of gun oil and leather and something else, something that made his confidence falter for just a moment. "Son, you picked the wrong table," the old man whispered, quiet enough that only Jake could hear. "Not because of who I am, but because of who you're trying to be." Jake's hand twitched toward his gun. "You threatening me, old-timer?" "No." The word hung between them like smoke. "I'm trying to save you." Then the old man did something unexpected. He unbuttoned his coat, letting it fall open. Pinned to his vest, tarnished and barely visible in the lamplight, was a marshal's star. But that wasn't what made Jake's breath catch. It was the scar's bullet wounds crisscrossing the man's chest like a map of violence. Old knife marks along his forearms, and a rope burn around his neck that spoke of a hanging he'd somehow survived. "My name's Caleb Stone," the old man said softly. 20 years ago, I was exactly like you, fast, angry, looking for respect in all the wrong places. I picked fights to prove I was somebody. Won most of them too." He paused, and something dark passed across his face. "Then I picked one I couldn't win. Young rancher, just married, sitting with his pregnant wife. I decided he looked at me wrong. Challenged him right there in front of her." Jake's hand had gone still. "He wasn't a fighter," Caleb continued, his voice rough. "He tried to apologize, tried to calm me down. But I was you, son, too proud, too stupid, so I drew." He closed his eyes. "I was faster. I killed a good man for no reason at all while his wife screamed and begged. The law came for me and I ran. Spent 10 years looking over my shoulder, 10 more trying to make it right. Became a marshal, hunted the real killers, saved lives when I could. But you know what? It never balanced the scales. That woman's face still haunts my dreams. Her husband's blood is still on my hands, no matter how many others I saved." The saloon remained frozen, everyone straining to hear. Caleb opened his eyes and looked at Jake, really looked at him. "You're standing at a crossroads right now. You can pull that gun and prove you're fast. Maybe you'll beat me, maybe you won't. My hands aren't what they were. But even if you win, even if you walk out of here with a reputation, you'll carry it forever. The weight of taking a life over pride and stupidity. It's a burden that'll crush you slowly, day by day, until you can't remember what it felt like to be clean." Jake's throat had gone dry. His hand dropped away from his gun like it had been burned. "Or," Caleb said gently, "you can walk away, find work that matters. Build something instead of tearing down. Be the man your mother hoped you'd become, not the killer this world is trying to make you." For a long moment, Jake stood there, his young pride warring with something deeper, something that recognized truth when it heard it. He thought about the crossroads Caleb had described. He thought about the old man's eyes, not afraid, because he'd already lost everything that mattered to fear. Slowly, Jake stepped back. His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, sir." Caleb's weathered face softened. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a silver dollar, pressing it into Jake's palm. "Go get yourself dinner, son. There's a ranch 10 miles north looking for hands. Tell them I sent you. They'll give you honest work." Jake looked at the coin, then at the old marshal, and felt something shift inside him. A path not taken, a future reclaimed. "Thank you," he whispered. As Jake walked toward the door, Caleb called out, "Son?" Jake turned. "You just won the most important fight of your life, the one against yourself." The saloon door swung open, and Jake Marlowe walked into the twilight not as a gunslinger, but as a man given a second chance before he'd thrown the first one away. Behind him, Caleb Stone sat back down at his table, alone again, but knowing that this time his scar